Alright, there we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, we're here for another STRAAT Talks, live from the museum. Again, of course, in Amsterdam North. Today, we're going to do STRAAT Talks with my dear friend from Sweden, vegan Flava. You can see the work here in the back. I just texted with the man himself a minute ago, so let's wait if he can find us here and can join us for again what I think will be a nice interview with the guy. Hi Lucinda. Hi guys. If you have any questions for the man in the back, just let me know. Let's wait a second for him to join us. It's getting a little bit colder, so I'm wearing the nice STRAAT sweater. Yes, that's very nice, Lucinda. There he is. I can see him. Okay, my friend. Try to click on request to join in the bottom, and I can add you. 1 second, guys. Maybe I can help you. If you have any questions for vegan Flava, just let me know. Okay, there he is. No, nobody else. Can you figure it out? One second, guys and girls. I don't see you yet. Thanks for watching at me right now. We're waiting for my friend to join the chat. Saludos de Amsterdam. No, he can't join. I will try to. Okay, he's not here. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, it's an amazing work, and it's even it's a great story how we met each other for the first time. I don't see him online right now. Hey Patrick, we're waiting for the artist to join us. I think he has some Wi-Fi trouble. It's also part of the process, so please stick with me here. Just send me a direct message and I will have a look at your work. If you have any questions about the museum, I'm more than happy to answer your questions for the moment. We just have to wait a moment for, hey Remy, for vegan Flava to join us again in the chat. Yes, there he is. Okay, I think he's joining us. Thanks, Remy, for... Hey! You made it.
Hi, man.
Hi, my friend.
Hi. It just, I had some troubles logging in. It just blacked out.
No worries.
Technical stuff.
For me, it's already a usual thing to do, but I can understand for others it's tricky the first time. Can you see your work properly? I mean, I'm sitting in
nice to see it.
Yeah,
I wish I was there.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's been a
you.
while.
It's been a while. Yeah, you've painted
Yeah.
it in 2018.
Yeah, right. Right.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah. So for everybody watching at home right now or watching it later, it's again time for another STRAAT Talks. Today it's time for Vegan Flava, the artist you see below me, a dear friend from Sweden, and you live in Stockholm, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. I live in Stockholm, but in a northern suburb. And
Yeah,
you see, it's already totally dark here.
it
So,
is. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
well,
It's
it's here.
autumn, so it's
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah,
It's still it's. I mean, the lights are on here, but it's not completely dark outside.
yeah. H-
Um,
How are you doing? How
I'm
was the day
fine.
at the museum today?
It was a busy day. I will come back to that later because I'm actually doing a project with Greenpeace outside right now.
Ah, that's awesome.
With an artist painting. Yeah, I first suggested you because I think that's a perfect match. But we'll come to that in a bit.
Yeah, that
But they were
is.
looking for a
Okay.
Dutch artist for a Dutch project. But anyway, for the people watching at home and the people watching it later, this is my dear friend Vegan Flava. We met each other in 2018. The first time I came, yeah, in touch with your work was actually by surprise. When I was looking for a couple of different works in the harbor of Lisbon, I found your work back in an alley, and it was yeah, it was the first time. I first thought, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, but I first thought it was something painted by Roa, the Belgian artist.
Yeah.
And when I looked closer, I saw your name there, and it was the beginning of our yeah. Well, it was the first time I saw your work. And the rest is history. You made this work for the museum. We're very proud of having the work. Um, so thanks for everybody for joining. How have you been? Because it's dark there, but how have you been lately?
I've had a really busy month, so
Okay.
I'm quite tired at the moment. But I was I've been working a lot, but not only with my own art. I've helped other artists to do exhibitions and so on, and then
That's nice.
also. Uh, I also do some art teaching. So I just
Right.
a week ago I came back from Belgium. We
Okay.
I was there with four. We were four um, art teachers and 8 or 10 students who went to a printmaking workshop because the art school where I work, it's a printmaking art school
Okay.
called
Yeah.
Grafikskolan in Stockholm, and
Right. Nice.
uh, yeah, so we were there. We went to these printmaking workshops that are called Frans Masserel Centrum in Castellet in Belgium. So we were there for 7 days, and
In Castella?
yeah,
What's okay? Yeah.
and did an art project there. And then the last day we spent in Brussels. So
Okay.
we saw the local art scene and also, of course, the street art scene. And I managed to do some paste ups and stickering and
In
so on.
Brussels.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it
I'm
was
going there in
only
two
for one
days.
day, so I was really fast.
Okay, send me the locations. I'm going there in 2 days, so I'm
Yeah, well,
looking
it's
forward to see your work.
yeah, it's yeah. Well, you'll probably go and see the Flem, his mural
Yeah,
at
at the university,
the
right?
Royal Library, the Royal
Ah, the
Library.
library. Yeah.
So I pasted some stuff over there because there's a lot of street art there,
Ah,
graffiti and
okay.
street art. So
Yeah.
it's I really love that location with Flem's mural and then
There's
the
a nice view of
museums
the
and then
city, right?
also the intense street art scene there.
Ah,
It's a big,
yeah,
nice mix.
good to know because I'm going to the solo show of Duron.
Okay, okay,
They're also, I can see them in the back from here.
yeah.
They're also part of the museum, and they're friends, so they invited me to come to the solo show. But
Oh,
it's
that's awesome. Is it an opening or?
yeah,
has-
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. But
okay. Then I missed
it's
that.
yeah, but it's good to check out some of your works
Yeah,
while I'm at it. So that's perfect.
if they're still
Um,
there. Yeah,
if they're still there, that's always the case with art, of course. But
yeah.
so you just went to Belgium. Any other things going on at the moment?
Yeah, well, the yeah, well, the climate meetings in Glasgow started 2 days ago, the COP26. So
Yeah.
uh, I wanted to go there, but and I had planned to do some art projects there, but then a lot of I just was drowning in too much other work. I had to catch up with bills and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and then it wasn't so easy to travel to Glasgow either by train and boats and
Hmm.
all of that. So I stayed in Stockholm, but so I'm collaborating with some activists from Extinction Rebellion locally in
Okay.
Stockholm. So
Right.
I'm actually having a break from painting in my studio to. I went home to do this interview, and when we finish, I'm
Nice.
going back to the studio and finishing the painting. I have like maybe 2 hours to go,
Yeah.
and then the activists
No
come and
way.
will pick it up. It's a big banner of because there's going to be a lot of stuff during these 2 weeks of the COP26 meeting happening internationally, and I think it's the 6th of November. There'll be
Hmm.
really large international manifestations and demonstrations and so on, and a lot
Okay.
of civil disobedient activism going on also. So I'm painting a banner which is like a bit more than 2 meters high and 8 meters wide,
Wow, that's
and I
huge.
only had like 2 days to paint. So I've been
Yeah.
painting really, really fast and paint everywhere. So
So, and what is it going to be, or is it still the
it's
surprise? Or
yeah, well, it's a surprise, but you can get a sneak peek. Actually I have the sketch here because I'm
okay,
still working on.
right.
For me, a lot of all the stuff that I do are like I interact with my motives and change
Hmm.
them all the time, and I paint until I'm happy with the painting. So here's I don't know if you can see, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
an Arctic fox, but
Yeah.
which I've um, it's a photo reference,
Yeah.
but then I draw directly on it, so you can see mine,
Oh, can you put
the
it a
shape of
bit
it.
higher? Yeah. Ah, there you go. I think everybody can see it. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So
Hi,
it's
Victoria.
changing it into roots. So
Beautiful.
it's a kind of an Arctic fox which is migrating
Yeah.
due
Yeah.
to
Wow.
climate change. So that's one
Beautiful.
of the main topics of mine, all of the
Of
work
your
that I
work.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think because I see quite some people that are saying hi to you, so I think most of the people know you already. Um, I think. Let me check. Somebody was. Thank you for a great mural in Trollhättan. You have to help me with
Yeah,
the
yeah. That's
pronunciation.
my home city. I'm from there.
Ah, okay. Yeah. How do you pronounce it?
Trollhättan.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love the I love the pronunciation. Um, but you're yeah. Well, you're besides an artist, you're a visual activist,
Yeah.
as you describe it yourself in on your website. and you mainly focus on the climate crisis, the existential crisis, and the
Yeah.
cultural, and how everything that we do affect our planet. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, sure. That's
Yeah,
very correct. Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how did it start for you, being an activist? What did trigger you from the beginning?
Well, it's I think it's way back in. I'm born in '78, so it was during the '90s. I was into skateboarding, and skateboard culture was had. I've always seen it that skateboard culture had one foot on the board and the
Mm-hmm.
other one in other kind of cultural expressions like subcultures and graffiti and street art and lowbrow art and music and punk music and all that stuff.
Right.
And for me, well, and during in the early '90s, there was this. Suddenly, there was this hardcore punk music scene that grew really large almost overnight in the city where I grew up, as I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier, Trollhättan, and
Yeah.
the neighboring city where I also had a lot of friends there, which is called Vänersborg, and
Okay.
they had a local, really small scene, hardcore punk scene, where all the international big hardcore bands from the US and from Europe and from everywhere
Mm-hmm.
came to play at during the several years during the '90s, and me and my
Okay.
friends, we went there to see these hardcore bands every weekend, and that music was really into like reflecting society and social
Okay.
questions, and one of the main topics in that was straight edge culture, which was like against all drugs and alcohol
Mm-hmm.
and nicotine, and also another topic was animal rights was
Right.
one of the main ingredients in that music, and was and it was a really interesting time to grow up in the middle of that, and I was actually very, or I consider myself being very lucky to have been involved in that. So after the first concert, me and my friends, we started our city's first hardcore punk band.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
so, and then a lot of stuff happened, but in '98, it was several years later, first in '98, that I turned vegan. But it was. Actually, the first ideas came through that music, and also
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of activism in that sense of that it's what it's all about, and I wasn't into so much politics at all, but
Right.
it kind of planted a seed, and then when
By
I went
becoming
to
vegan.
yeah, yeah, the music planted a seed, and then when
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to move from my home city to
Mm-hmm.
and so the ticket was that I got accepted to an art school. I had
Okay.
applied to an art school without telling anybody,
Okay.
and then I just moved there. And in that class, I had a fellow student. She was vegan, and she just handed me 3 flyers, and I read those flyers, and that was it. The rest is history.
Okay.
So
So what was on the flyers?
no, it was about the situation for animals. I think one of them
Okay.
was about
Yeah.
chickens, and the other one was about pigs, and then was about
Right.
animal testing. So and to read those, it was shocking, and I just decided there and then that I'll turn vegan overnight,
Right. Ah,
and
okay. Yeah.
ever since I've been vegan. That was '98, and then yeah, then also I was a graffiti writer, so I painted a lot of graffiti. So
Mm.
and so eventually I started immediately writing vegan. So it
Yeah,
was just natural. It was
yeah,
the thing on my mind, and I started just
right.
tagging and painting that. And also I joined some animal rights groups, and also peace movements, and other activist groups like against racism and a lot of things. So I
Yeah,
was and I was for years I was looking for a way to either quit being an artist, quit painting and all, and only focusing
the
on
activism.
yeah, the activism part, uh, and switching to studies to study
Mm.
like that kind of topics and so on. But then the other option was to merge my interest for society and so on and
Yeah,
politics with the art. So ever since '98, I've been testing and trying and exploring different ways of communicating through art. And yeah, I guess
yeah,
it's that's something about the start at least.
yeah, yeah. No, beautiful. And well, thanks for sharing the story of the beginning. Looking back at like the last year or 1.5 years, um, how was this for you? Because of course there's a lot going on in the world.
You mean
Uh,
with the pandemic and COVID and all of that?
yeah, yeah. But a lot
Yeah,
is
well,
changing.
it was troublesome in the beginning, and of course, as for most people, I got
Hmm.
everything cancelled, like everything. It was,
Yeah,
and with the teaching part, I had like in 48 hours, I changed the studies for all my teaching to doing it online
yeah,
instead.
right.
Also, actually, it was also about urban art. It's an urban
Hmm.
art, printmaking in urban art. So I'm teaching
Okay,
about editions
right.
on city walls.
Yeah,
There's a lot of artists in our scene who uses printmaking as in really interesting ways, and how we communicate and comment ads and all
okay,
the visuals in our cities and so on. So
right.
um, so I needed to be fast to change my teaching, and but also there was also a positive part, I think, when the whole scene kind of calmed down for a while, and
Right.
I wasn't prepared, but I experienced it as very positive to
Hmm.
like get a pause or a break from everything,
Right.
because it can be really fast.
Yeah, it's the
You have
same
to
with
work so hard. Um,
yeah. I think it's the same as what Matthäus Bailan mentioned in the previous STRAAT talk
yeah,
that I had. He mentioned something similar.
yeah,
It was good to have like a pause from the whole scene
yeah,
and just look back and reflect on yourself, focus
for
more
sure.
on your studio work and evolve your work in general.
Yeah,
And then from now on, move on. I think environmentally, it was also even a slightly positive thing for
yeah, for
everybody
sure.
not for everybody not traveling, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so I thought maybe you would also mention that, like looking back at the last 1.5 years,
yeah,
for sure there was also a bit of positive note to add to the whole story.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
But with the traveling, I haven't. I'm not one of those artists who travel a lot. I just do a few trips every year, maybe 2 trips
yeah,
every year, and then I also travel with my family. And usually, I'm prohibited from painting when I'm traveling with my family. But usually, I
Try to
I
combine it.
managed to do something
Right.
anyhow.
Yeah, no, I
So
wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the
yeah,
entire world.
yeah,
For everybody not to travel so much,
yeah,
it's also a good thing.
for sure.
Yeah. So how do you see the G20? Did it start today or
Sunday. They
Sunday?
started on Sunday.
Yeah. So do you see it in a
Yep.
positive way or
You
what
mean,
do
I
you
mean the
think?
COP26 meeting or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there anything going to change?
that big question. Of course,
Hmm.
they are trying. At least some of them are trying, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping, or I think everyone is hoping that they really step up to the challenges with climate change and global warming. But there's so many things on the agenda that they need to do, and
Right.
I mean, there's only a few topics on the table, and what I've seen, I haven't had time these 2 days to follow the meeting so closely,
Mm.
but I will later this week, maybe from tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that they do something, because we need some really major
Yeah.
optimistic change in the situation, because it's really dark otherwise.
Yeah.
So for me personally, my mental health would be really dark if it wasn't for the IPCC of the UN, uh, all the
All the plans
uh,
for the following
yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah, all of
Yeah.
that stuff. So that's been a really big help.
And that's until
Mm.
2030, right?
Yeah,
Or
2030,
2030,
2050. There's
2050.
different
Right.
plans for
Yeah.
2030, 2050, and 2100 also. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff is going to happen and change in our lifetime. So we'll
Right.
be seeing a lot of things, a lot of movement, and that's what I'm also focusing more and more in my art, also, with all these migrations and movements of plants, animals, and also humans.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's my art is a way to cope with all of this stuff. In that
Right.
way, I can be,
You have
uh,
you have a
you
purpose,
know,
or how do you see that?
come again.
You have a purpose. It
Yeah,
gives
well,
you
it's
purpose in life to,
no,
or is that
I
you
don't.
have it?
Actually, I don't need any more purpose in life than being a parent, and
Of course.
I like I love existing, but so
Right.
I don't really need to have a purpose. But for me, when it comes to art and culture and so on, I really love and admire a lot of artists and authors, and you know, all kinds of languages and expressions.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to when I'm making my own art, I'm always, I don't let myself do anything outside of these topics that I really think are important.
Yeah.
So and it's not that I need a purpose, or it's something a purpose that I follow or something. I just can't do anything else. It's I have to do this. I'm so intertwined with these ideas and doing something about it. It's about
Yeah.
almost survival for me. Um, um, so
Yeah. Clear. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. Clear. So what you just mentioned before with the last 1.5 years, and what also Matthäus Ballon said, it was like a step away from the scene to just reflect, and also maybe reflect at your work. Did that change anything in the way you're painting, or what you're painting, or what you're going to paint in the future?
uh, yeah, I don't know if it changed. It I went out in my local nature more. So I didn't go to my
Mm-hmm.
studio. I went out in the forest and looked for ideas there, and I've, I, I'm really interested in finding ways to express and explore the four seasons. We have in Sweden, we have four
Mm-hmm.
really clear different seasons, and there are, so I'm trying to find ways of kind of interacting with that in my art. So I went
Yeah.
more into the nature and doing stuff there, like on frozen lakes and on snow. And
Yeah.
one thing that I did discovered last summer was something that I came to call biostencilism. Maybe I just needed a word for it, but it was
Right. Okay.
it was. Actually, on my way, I ride my bike to my studio. It takes like 30 minutes by
Okay.
bike.
Yeah.
And suddenly I saw all these flowers in ditches.
Okay.
And I think all of these flowers has been away for like decades, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because the municipality, they cut it all down,
Okay.
not to spread weeds and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
then they probably saw that all the insects died, so there was no pollinators and anymore.
Okay.
So then
Yeah.
then they changed that and let the flowers grow again.
Mm-hmm.
So last summer was a really I had kind of it was like the first time that I really saw these flowers, because I stopped my bike and jumped off and went to sit in the ditch with all these flowers, and it was like coming down to a really intense trafficked city,
Okay.
but with these insects and so on.
Right.
And I just wanted to interact with that, so I picked a lot of flowers and brought a lot of flowers to my studio and started
Mm-hmm.
to trying to figure out what to make of it. So I drew these drawings and cut out stencils, and then I added these flowers to the stencils, and combined like cutout stencils with the real nature, and then just spray painted it on paper, and did a lot of mistakes, and but then figure out something that was interesting, and
Right.
came to call it biostencilism. But
But oh, that's beautiful. Well, it adds something to your portfolio for sure, because
yeah,
you do paint and
yeah,
on canvas, and you paint in the snow or on ice,
yeah,
right? And now bio stenciling.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
well, I really like all those things. The simplest ideas are the hardest to
Yeah.
find. It takes so much work. But when you see an artist, you've seen this many times. When you see an
Mm.
artist and they show you their work, and it's like, damn, I've been doing that. That's what we learn in kindergarten. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, these flower things is that kind of an idea. So I've been looking for those simple ideas that are so
Mm-hmm.
simple that everyone will say that I know that, I can
I
do
could
that.
have done that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's the hard part,
Right. Yeah.
to find those ideas, because they are so pure,
Yeah.
clean.
Nothing easy about it.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
understand. Yeah. Ah, that's
So it's fun.
beautiful. Yeah. And look at your art. You went to the academy, art
Yeah.
academy. Did it inspire you of the way you're painting? As you can see in the back.
During art academy, I was there for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've studied art for like maybe 8 years and even more in art schools.
Okay.
But 5 years in art academy in Stockholm, and I don't think I learned much about painting during those years. But I was experimenting with a lot of as I said earlier, that was those years I really experimented a lot with combining activism with art, and
Right. Yeah.
which is not easy. Usually, the activists say that the art is too, it's not clear enough what it's about, and when art becomes activism, the artists say, or the art world says that it's too clear what you're talking about.
Right.
It's like it's too, so it's really difficult to find ways there how to do it. But I think I tried most of the stuff. I did like a lot of actions. I think 2000 to the year 2000. I did to form the activist art group where we drove around with a minivan and did
Right.
some art actions and so on. We kind of just did a lot of
Many
things.
things.
I'm not
Many things.
going in on all those. It's too
No,
long
but
stories, but
it's interesting because everybody has their own experience with art academy and
yeah,
really learns how to paint, and others take other things as experience from the years that they were in the art academy and learn
yeah,
how to paint really after the academy itself.
yeah,
So yeah. So
yeah.
what
What
moved
is
you
it?
to become more? Sorry.
No, it's during those years. It was it was in 2000. So I think it was really conceptual art and social art and video art was a big thing back then,
Hmm.
over 20 years ago. So yeah,
Yeah. Perfect. So what it kind of makes sense because in the streets people see your work and they can see the message that you want to spread and the statements that you want to make. But what moved you to become an urban artist, or as you call it, a visual activist?
yeah. Well, I started out with graffiti when I was a kid,
Okay,
like
yeah,
really young.
that's right.
In 88, 89, I discovered graffiti in
So you were
19.
10, 11?
Yeah, yeah. So 1990, I painted my first graffiti
Wow.
painting, and I was mostly tagging and bombing and doing that kind of stuff. But it's the usual story about discovering subway art and spray can art books.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, of
so
course.
so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did that, and then I just kept going and continued, and then everything evolved into the art schools, and I decided that I didn't feel like an artist, and I didn't
Hmm.
feel like a graffiti writer either. So I kind of adapted to visual activism that that was more
Your thing.
describes the, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it felt better.
yeah.
And also, but the I switched from painting graffiti and so on to into doing stencils and fanzines and
Hmm.
printmaking things and pasting stuff and doing
Right.
actions. And I think I've always been looking for other places to express art than the white cube. Uh,
Yeah,
like
like the
I,
snow, the ice.
yeah, yeah, for sure. The
Yeah.
snow stuff that came much later. It's
Hmm.
2014, 15. I started to do my
Okay.
first paintings on snow
Yeah.
or explorations on snow. Most of the stuff I don't even get a photo of most of the stuff. So
Yeah. It must be hard, right? Because do you always paint it in a day? Because well, snow is moving. Can
yeah,
imagine.
almost all of them are in a day because usually. there's during the nights there's coming new snow, another
Right.
snowfall,
Yeah.
so it covers all of it.
Yeah.
But if I'm lucky and I see that there's I have time to paint for 2 days, then I do it. So, but I think it's just a couple of times. But usually it's between sunrise and sunset in Swedish winter. So that's like 4 hours or 6 hours. It's like you have to be super fast.
Right.
But also it's really difficult with the material
Yeah.
because how the I mean it's about temperature. So and
Can you
it's
imagine?
not,
Only 4 hours.
yeah.
That's very little time.
Yeah, it is, and then also you need to. But I like the in this complex situation, aesthetics is born also. So from the difficult um, kind of things that affect the painting,
Yeah.
you kind of have to interact really fast. Sometimes you can see it, you can see the troubles and problems that I've had if you really look closely to those
Okay.
paintings. It's like I'm seeing the sun is going down and I'm like, shit, it's going to be totally dark in 30 minutes and I'm only halfway into the painting. So I need to kick around the paint or kick around the snow and just do something, take 2 cans and do dots everywhere. And then the whole concept,
Change it up.
yeah, the whole concept of the painting changes.
Right.
And so it's not always bad to have these restrictions. It's the interaction, it's fun.
Weather, yeah.
Because if I don't have that, then I'll continue forever.
Doing the same.
Yeah, in the studio, a studio painting. If I don't have a deadline, I'm like painting for years on those.
Yeah.
So it's also therapy for me to go out in nature because then I have a really tough deadline. So
yeah, gotcha. So and looking for new ways and well, as you mentioned before, any new projects coming up, or are you working on something and you can share a bit with us?
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting for. Well, now it's autumn still. I've tried to do some stuff before I went to Belgium. I tried to do some new stuff on my lake.
Okay, cool.
I have like 4 minutes walk to the lake, to Lake Mälaren. I can actually see it from my window.
Okay.
So I'm looking for something to do on the water surface, but this far it's it didn't work. So
okay.
but I'm not telling you what it is, but I hope later in November I'm going to post something about it. And then also I'm waiting for winter to come, for snow and ice. So I'll continue. I started. You can see that on my in my social media that last winter I did a few works on snow-covered ice on frozen lakes, and I didn't. The other paintings are made. I won't say that. The other paintings are made with biodegradable chalk. So it's not paint; it's chalk.
Right.
So
does that make it easier or harder?
No, it's not a difference. It's so it's and also with ice and snow and ash and the chalk. But last winter I only used a brush, like a big brush, not a painting brush, a big to sweep the floor with. So when it was really cold, but the winter came really late in Stockholm. I think it was the last week of January. So my lake the lake froze and the ice became really dark, and there was this perfect layer of like 2-3 centimeters of snow, and it
Okay.
was, as it was so cold, it was like pigment. It was like white pigment, so I could use the brush and just move around the snow as white pigment, and to make the dark black ice visible. So I could paint with the snow and ice just as I'm used to do with just black paint and water, and use the whiteness of the paper or the canvas or whatever I'm painting on. In
So
the
it basically
studio,
created the ideal canvas,
yeah,
the
and
ideal situation.
and that was so. It was so fantastic. It was just mind blowing to.
Right.
I just when I tried it, so I realized what in that moment what I was doing, and then I have a drone, so I sent the drone up, and
Yeah.
I did this a bird. It's a snow bunting. It has a story, but never mind. And then
Yeah.
when my son came home from school, we went to play hockey on this snow bunting bird.
Okay.
So
So you played hockey over the piece.
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm doing more of that stuff, continuing that stuff this winter, and it's going to be my second winter film. I
Okay.
did
Cool.
I released one. The film it was actually my longest film so far. It's 14 minutes. Signs on the Surface, and
Check
it's
it out. Is it on YouTube?
yeah, it's on YouTube, and you can find it on my website on veganflava.com.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
I'm
videos that you
doing.
make are beautiful.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm
People should
working on the
definitely check
second
it out.
video. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's hope for. Okay. There's a question there. Let's hope for an early winter so you can go out and start painting again. Why and how you choose your image?
Why and how?
Yeah,
Well,
could
this
you tell why and how you choose your image? There's a question from Hoyland, I think.
thanks for the question. Well, yeah, this I have several themes that I work with, and
Well, maybe
all,
use this one as an
yeah, all the
example.
skeletons things has been actually I painted people for many years, but then I took away all the layers of identity, so only the bones were left.
Yeah,
And then I had a hard time because there's so many skeletons in art history with the Vanitas and Memento Mori paintings, and then also the hard rock music culture, and also all the tattoos. So I
yeah,
wasn't so happy to start painting skeletons, but I tried to do something to add to that culture, or to the image of skeletons and craniums. But so and it was also about placing humans back in nature so the theme is about our relation to nature.
mm-hmm.
But actually the painting behind you in the museum has a bit a different story, but it's I was really happy to be invited to the museum, and
Yeah,
we're thinking for a long time what is worth to put in a museum. That was
right.
a bit tough. So in the end, I came up with the idea that I want to honor or highlight the thin layer of soil, which
Right.
everything living on land is deeply, deeply dependent on.
Yeah.
So I painted these two trees depicted as skeletons in kind of nature in relation with us humans.
Yeah. You are. Yeah. You do see the leaves all around,
Yeah, yeah, and
refers to the tree.
if I remember the title,
Yeah.
thin No, a layer of soil, an ecology for an eternity, I think.
It's
It's
there. You're
a bit
correct, but
long and difficult, but that's just the way I am, I guess.
yeah,
That's why I I prefer to paint and make my art, because it's a better language.
right.
You can hear where I speak and think and write, and all. It's so complicated. But when I paint, I can put so much into it, into one single artwork. It's much better for me to communicate through the language of art.
Yeah,
That's one, and then also the another thing that I work with is the ecocide,
hmm,
things that are about how plants and or endangered species,
yeah,
plants and animals. That's
yeah. You
one
paint a lot
topic,
of
and
birds, right? Uh,
yeah, it's because it's many of them are roots shaped
yeah,
as birds. So
right.
it's a word play with migrating birds. Is
Okay.
that the
Yeah,
English word for it? Moving birds, you know.
right. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like nature and plants and so on that move from
yeah.
our uh, culture's vision for the planet.
Well,
So
yeah. Perfect. I hope that's an answer to the question from, well, I lost
I hope
who
so.
asked it, but I think it is. You're correctly, you're, yeah, you're completely correct with the title of your work.
Thanks.
Kudos on remembering that because it's a long title.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I do know it's a special work for you. We've spoken about it quite some time.
yeah,
Do you remember what you wrote on the back?
yeah. It's an dedication for my family, my wife and two kids. So
Yeah,
it's a very special piece for me. So
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's. I will show it in a bit because you haven't seen it, of course, in 3 years.
yeah,
The piece, of course, you've seen on pictures, but the dedication, it's there on the back.
yeah. It's been
Um,
actually I've been so happy. It's been posted quite a lot
it
lately.
is,
I don't know why, but it's
yeah,
and really beautiful photos, and so I've been
right,
really happy about that. So thank you to everyone who has posted and
yeah,
been
yeah.
there. And
Well,
yeah,
we do see a rising number of visitors the last couple of weeks.
that's great.
Of course, also summer is over here, so more people tend to go to museums when it's getting colder.
Yeah,
So also thank you for that, for coming to the museum and checking out the place. A lot of French people the last 2 weeks, and we had the autumn break last weekend, so or last week. So that's why yeah, more people are taking pictures of the works, and I saw quite some people taking pictures of your work in
yeah,
particular. And
oh,
it's
that's
in
nice.
the yeah, and it's in your work. It's in the theme of conscious, with 5 different themes here. So this theme is all about like living on this planet together. Artists that are making statements regarding refugees, war, climate control, animal harm. So it's a perfect fit with the work you make and you made here in the back in particular. Yeah, we're very happy having your work here in the museum.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I do hope to welcome you any day soon to come and check out the place and
For
check out.
sure,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to come over.
right.
Yeah, I have to do that soon. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, we did show the place to quite a lot of the Dutch participating artists,
Yeah,
and every now and then more artists are coming over. We had
Yeah,
Farid Rueda from Mexico last week, and some more artists are coming in the next couple of weeks.
yeah.
Um,
So it's changing every day almost, every
yeah,
month.
well, you mean the canvases or
Yeah, no, the collection and also there's also temporary exhibitions, right? Or you did have,
yeah,
or
well, I mean, we opened a couple of weeks ago. It was the 1 year anniversary that we opened because we had to shut down for the lockdown 6 to 7 months in between. And of course, building the whole museum for 5 to 6 years, I do have the feeling I want to give the artists that participated in the beginning and over the last couple of years the right to show the work for a bit of time before changing all the artworks around. But of course, at some point, we will shift some artworks and have other artists to also contribute to the collection.
awesome.
So yeah, yeah, but not every piece will be replaced. And of course, the works here and the work in the back, it's a special work that you made with the dedication on the back, and it's yeah, it's also a special for me, also personally, a special way how I came into touch with your work in the first place.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, actually.
Right? Yeah,
For me, it's a story that I'll always remember.
right. Yeah,
I can't even believe it happened. I mean,
yeah.
I mean it's
No, it's it was just the beginning of a beautiful story,
yeah,
and we're telling the story. We continue to tell the beautiful story in the back. Of course, a lot happened, uh, good and bad things. But like in
sure,
the end, art gives hope and comforts us. So yeah, that's what
for
we
sure.
try to continue telling here in the museum. And yeah, what the story is behind the artwork, dear Jan, you can read it on our website. I'm trying to wrap it up. I normally do an hour. Are there any more things that you would like to discuss uh, with with me and with the visitors?
No.
Right? I think we had quite a good hour.
Yeah,
I do like to show the complete work because this guy here is sitting in front of the work all the time.
yeah,
I do like to
yeah,
show the work in its
yeah.
complete form,
Bring us over there then.
right? Because it's like the museum. It's
Wow.
completely empty right now, and here you can see the work. There are quite some questions about why black and white, but if you look closer,
Yeah,
I think there's
not
also a bit
just
of
black and
green,
white.
right? There's also a bit of green going on.
Yeah, but it's first of all, I like working with black and white, and it's not only black and white. There's a lot of shades of grays and
Right.
greens and blues and uh, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
um, you know,
mainly black and white.
yeah,
And I will
mainly
just,
black and white.
this one is for you. I will just show you the dedication. Ah, of course, it's on the other side. We can move the artworks just a little bit.
Yeah.
So it says
Oh yeah.
there in the back.
Thanks, mate.
Um, but I will send you a picture later.
Yes,
Um,
please.
thank you once again for having the Star Talks with me. Um,
Thank you,
keep check
David.
keep checking it out because I know you always watch the Star Talks from home. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for everyone that will check the interview later. Next week I'll not be here, but the week after there will be again another Star Talks here live from Amsterdam. Thank you, my friend. we'll stay in
Thanks,
touch.
David.
Good
Thanks,
luck with
David.
everything.
Thanks, Strat, and thanks to everyone who listened. So,
Perfect. We'll
thanks
we'll
for
stay
having
in
me.
touch, and the catalog about the museum is coming soon. So
Oh, I'm looking
stay
forward
tuned.
to that.
We're waiting for it to arrive. So it will
Awesome.
be here any day soon.
That's nice.
Thanks,
So,
and we'll stay in touch.
yes, please.
All right. Bye.
Cheers. Later, dude.
Cheers.